Howdy everyone! Today is a bit of a special stream. Okay, awesome. My mic's working. I'm streaming solo today! For the first time, like, ever, actually. Pretty much every one of these streams, I've either had Knives and Rain, or Knives and Alex on playing with me, which has been nice. It's been really comfortable, and I feel like I can chat fairly easily when there are people nearby. But that's not the case. Oh, hi there. I'm going to be doing some solo gaming. Knives is going to be popping in once in a while just to surprise me and spook me. I'm going to be playing some Dead by Daylight. I've had it for a little while. I haven't gotten around to playing it until this past week. Oh, hey Anity, it's good to see ya. And yeah, I've had it for a little while. This is my first week actually playing it. So I'm very new. Just today I bought the non-trademarked Hunter expansion pack or Killer expansion pack. I'm used to Hunt. And so I haven't used any of them. Ooh, okay. I'll let you know. I know Knives is played. That's probably for the best. I tried Survivor. I only tried it once. I tried it in the bot game as part of the tutorial after the actual tutorial. It's stressful. I don't like the way it feels, and I got real bad. I was the first one to die. And I haven't watched a bunch of any Survivor. All of my watching experience has been Wayne Radio TV playing Hunter or Killer. Oh yeah, that's fair. I played a bunch of League of Legends for a long time, and I think I had the opposite problem where whenever I was with teammates, I would always think I was playing bad if we were losing, regardless of whether my other teammates were holding their own weight. I was just immediately self-conscious. So I guess it's probably a little easier to judge that with Dead by Daylight, where you're not there's not somebody playing tank who has different objectives than another person. But yeah, I have yet to play Survivor in an actual match. I'm wanting to eventually. I have Knives plays DBD, Rain's played DBD. I don't know how recently. A couple friends from mine and Knives D&D group also play it. One is actually the reason I bought it in the first place, and then we didn't play it for a while because I don't remember why. Oh, it's because we were trying to get it set up to play during a period where we weren't having in-person sessions. And so we were looking for things to do remotely. Then once we started in-person sessions, it just sort of fell off. So I'm gonna try and get them to play. But I will also definitely reach out to you if I have 3 and we want a 4th or something like that. That'd be awesome. I will let you know. I just realized I wrote down some notes that I wanted to talk about at the start of stream or just during the stream. and they're on my phone that I'm using for the facial mocap, so I can't access them without freezing my model, so oh well. Yeah, right. Yeah, Rai is one of the people from my D&D group who I was just talking about. You got it for Switch, right? Also, hell yeah, it's good to see you, Rai. Oh yeah, because you were saying that, like, talking about the joystick stuff earlier. Oh, nice. Yeah, I would love to play with you sometime. You, Angel, yes. I think you can do customs, so we could have like one person from our group playing Killer, and then another 4 playing Survivor. That could work nicely. We'll have to figure that out. I guess without further ado, I should swap over to the game and stop yammering. Unless I can remember anything else I was going to mention. Not really. If I think of anything later, I'll bring it up. Let us head to gaming. Oh. That was the wrong screen. Alright. Now I need to please tab out so I can drag OBS. There we go. Open up chat. Okay. So once again, I'm a noob. I just barely got the Hunter expansion, so for a while I only had like the intro 6. Oh, okay, I got 60,000 blood points. That's cool. Okay, I'm not playing Nurse today, not on stream. Knives has played a little bit of Nurse and actually done pretty decent, and I think it is too much for my brain. But I might try her out sometime. I've been playing a lot of Wraith, because he's easy and fun. You just run at people, and I feel like he's very forgiving of mistakes. And then I recently, for like, I think I've only played one game of Huntress so far, but I really like her, partly because of the constant humming that she does. It's extremely relatable. Yeah, for a while I don't remember what Hunters Oh yeah, okay, I guess it was just the top row here, and then Huntress. Maybe I still had? No, okay. Yeah, the rest of these are entirely new. Yeah, the match I played with her, I was unfortunately in... I don't remember what it was, but it was entirely indoors, and there's like a freezer and stuff. And it was not the best map for her. Having a bunch of rooms and not super wide open areas is a little but this game makes me wish I actually watched any horror movie so I could understand who all the cool characters are. So, you're in luck. All of the characters from horror movies are currently locked because you have to buy them in DLC. So we are using a bunch of Dead by Daylight original hunter or killers today. They have, yeah. Let's see, for movies I've actually watched, or like media that I participated in. The Shape is the only, like, one I've participated in. I haven't seen Nightmare on Elm Street. Bubba is from, oh my gosh, Silence of the Lambs? Is that right? I can't remember. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen anything with chainsaw killers. I know Nemesis is from Resident Evil. Oh, it's hiding the tooltip that would tell me where he's from. Character from? That sucks. Does it say somewhere here? Oh, Leatherface. Okay, okay. That's right. There's Silent Hill, Pyramid Head, Ghostface from Scream. The pig is from Saw, one of the sort of later Saw movies from what I hear. Nemesis, yeah, is Resident Evil. Cenobite from... Gosh, I keep wanting to say Eraserhead, and it's not Eraserhead. Pinhead. There we go. Hellraiser. There we go. I don't know what you're from, actually. Like, I have Portrait of a Murder. Okay. Oh, she's freaky. The PD Sync baby. Or the giant baby monster from Resident Evil 8, who I've only seen a little bit of, and thank God I have not tried to play that game. I would die. Unreal. The Dredge, I don't remember what this guy's from. I say guy. I assume there's not a lot of gender happening here. Well, okay, maybe a lot of gender. Depending who you ask. Roots of Dread. I don't even recognize that name. So we're gonna be going with, yeah, original killers. Hell yeah, Anity. Hell yeah. Let's see. I'm just gonna say, it is not really my gender. I don't know that it's entirely theirs, but our DM, Core, or Coreball, I don't know what they show up as in chat, I forget. They might relate a little bit more gender-wise to the Dredge than I do. I'm definitely more of an Unreal artist gender. Howdy, Sideways. That's a fancy skeleton you got there. Yeah, legit. The Trickster is the K-pop dude, original character. He throws knives. Twins. The little brother is just like a crazy gremlin that runs after people. While the older sister is like the main killer, who does the actual damage and stuff. The Blight runs at people, or runs at things, and like bounces off of them. And if something's close, he can detect it when he hits the thing and start running after them. And he's super fast and hard to control. This is if I want to play Hunt Showdown tonight. Guy with a harpoon gun. The Oni, very slow, extremely difficult from what I've seen. Emetophobia, trigger warning for the plague. She is pestilence, and there is vomit involved. So just word of warning. Legion is just like a dude with a knife. I think that's literally all there is. If he runs too long, he gets like lightheaded and blacks out for a sec. I know nothing about the spirit. If I've seen her, I've completely forgotten. The clown throws gas at people to deal damage and slow them or speed himself up. I've never seen the doctor. I might have seen the hag, completely forgot what she does. The huntress throws axes. The nurse can teleport. The hillbilly is also a chainsaw guy with different mechanics from Bubba, I guess. The trapper sucks. The wraith runs with a bell and can go invisible, but to attack he has to ring the bell and uncloak himself. I might warm up with Wraith. He's fun. I really enjoy him. Which one was Call of Duty Knife Man Sideways? I think I missed it. Also, apologies, I'm very slow at the blood web. To be fair, my only reference point is Wayne Radio TV, who goes through it extremely fast, so I don't know what normal speed is, but... Oh! Bramble Shot, thank you for the follow! Oh, yeah, the killer that's just the guy with the knife is the Legion. Who apparently, like, his whole deal is that he's recruited a bunch of other people, I guess. But you just play as him, from my understanding. Unless it, like... I don't quite know how he works. I haven't looked into it. Yeah, Bramble Shot, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Zoot Cave. Keep an eye out for any stalagmites or stalactites. Please don't touch them for the sake of conservation. If you see any warding runes or random sigils, please just don't touch them for your own safety. I am not responsible for what happens if you do. And with that out of the way, I've got to go after perks, is pretty much what I've been told. Oh, Huntress's wifey is an extremely good take. I love her, I forgot the word again. Humming that she does constantly. It reminds me of me. Let's see. Reveals the aura of the basement hooks you for 20 seconds at the start of the trial. Tremendously increases the chance of spawning the basement in the killer shack. If the map has a killer shack, okay. Sing me to sleep, murder mommy, yeah. Hatchet throw speed, hell yeah. Tremendously increases the chance of being sent to Goldwyn Farm. I can get all of them. Why am I being picky? Decrease time to wind up a hatchet throw by 12%. Dang. Okay. But oh, I only have 5,000 left. Guess I'm gonna grab this one. All right, and I guess now let's figure out my loadout. Oh no, I wanted to run. I'm gonna run Wraith first because he's easy and fun, and then I'll do a game of Hatchet Mommy. Let's see, add-ons. I have 3 of those. That's fine. 2 blinks. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, and then the offering. The sacrifice, this is hunting. I'll go with sacrifice. See if I got any perks. See, what is this one? Once the exit gates are powered. Oh, right, okay. And Deer Stalker reveals dying survivors' auras when standing within a 28-meter range. I'm gonna try out, what was it? Fearmonger. I'm not entirely sure what blindness and exhaustion are, but it's 2 status effects. It has to be good, right? Yeah, okay, let's try this. Oh, let me make sure I have a challenge. No, I already have a challenge. Hook 4 different survivors, easy. I'm gonna get all 4 immediately. In the first match, I mean. So far, I've only had 1 person leave through a gate. Oh my god! Samurai Panda Live! Ow! That's good to see ya! Oh yeah, by the way, for those who haven't been here in a while, I have channel point redeems, or rewards. If you click on the little orbs down below the chat box, you can redeem points to do different things. They should almost all trigger automatically, except for things like running ads, I think, drinking water, stretching, thanks. Not necessarily. Like, it doesn't mechanically mute me. I think it is funny if I mute while I do it, I guess. And you earn points by watching me. And if you see a green gift box pop up, you can click it and get extra points. So you can do fun things like put me in the timeout box, or give me rabies, or remind me to drink water, like I'm going to do right now. Oh, a key. Thank you for the hydrate, right? Couple big good sippies. Right, let's get this underway. I'm gonna take off my little fidget ring. I don't need to fidget while I'm hunting, killing. There we go. Let's see. Yeah. So right now I'm invisible. And I can do normal things, but I can't attack people while I'm cloaked. That means somebody was trying to fix a generator and they failed twice. Now I'm uncloaked. Get the hit. The flashlight blinds me if it connects for long enough. But it wastes batteries, I think. once I dealt enough damage to down him, I can pick him up. If you haven't seen the game before, I'm sorry, this is going to be gruesome the first couple times, but we hang him on the sacrificial hook. So, our goal is to stop the generators from completing. I didn't even chase into here. Why did they... Oh. Why were you just hiding there? We can go put you on the same hook. Was that up? Are you just running circles? Yeah, congrats, you just did that. Got her. Hell yeah. I would love that, Anady. I'd love to play with you sometime. If there's a wraith chasing you... Oh, it's all good. I'm in the first match. There's a dude with a flashlight trying to blind me, and it hasn't worked so far. I've hooked 3 survivors so far. Nice try, my dude. I see you over here. Blood. Kill. They keep messing up these generators. Oh, no, that's not a generator. You're, I'm bad. Oh, yes! I have yet to see a Leon, which is unfortunate, because I want to hear the, that. Oh, wait a second. No, you're... No, okay. There you are. Girl, this is a lesson you're gonna have to learn the hard way. Don't hide in the room with the basement. The basement always has 4 hooks, and there's only one way in or out of it, so it is inconvenient to try and rescue someone from. Let's make sure these don't get too bad. Let's smash this so we don't run into issues again. Ooh. Oh, she died. Oh, hello there. You had me for like 3 seconds there. Oh, flashlight guy's here for us. Yippee. Come on, let me... Get off of there. I need to damage the gen. You guys are being rude. This guy is super obnoxious. Where are you? Okay, let's damage this gen while we're here. Oh, did I not down her? Nope, there she is. Ah! There we go. That was sort of Galaxy Brain, not gonna lie. They really want this gen up. I think it's really close to being fixed, and so rather than, like, trying to play it smart, they're just like, oh, if I can just get it on it real quick, it'll be done, and we'll have one gen finished. I'm sorry, I wasn't camping you, I swear. I was just in the area. Just 4K'd my 4-hex pig game. Nice! I've heard pig is tricky. Oh, dang it. I thought I might have that. Oh my god, dude. That actually worked. Not for long. I really love the concept of pig. I've heard that playing her is sort of mixed, like, fun. Oh, is this gen already done? Yeah. I didn't realize they got a gen up. Oh, hello. Gotta get you to a different hook. Hopefully this one's close enough. I have a hard time judging hook locations so far. There we go. She died. This gen. There's no one on it. Holy crap. I guess maybe they learned that I have just been over there for ages. Okay, that's just the fire I'm hearing. Oh, you have been working on this one. Just for... okay. Okay, I have 2 of them dead, which is really nice. Unfortunately, it also means they're harder to find, because there's only 2 of them. Oh, hey, dude. You're funny. Dang it. I'm not falling for the flashlight once, but pallets do get me. Where did you go? There we go. Ah! Yeah! No! I hate this. I obviously want to pick the guy up. There we go. Stop you. Oh, are you already damaged then? Okay. Destroy the door. I haven't even been over to this side of the map for a good chunk of the game. Oh, I guess I need to be looking for the vault. Or the hatch. Yeah, that's the word. Oh. You finished a gen, huh? I think that does mean you haven't found the hatch, which is good. There she is. Got her. Heck yeah. I'm not super familiar with the hatch noise yet, so I'm glad she isn't either, I guess. Yeah! Bing bong. Yeah, Hunter's fun. I really like Wraith. It's really just straightforward and nice IMO. You run at things faster than they can run away from you. Easy. Howdy, Alpaca. It's good to see ya. Thank you for stopping by. How have you been doing? Let's see. Oh, right. I just remembered a thing that I added that I can do. Yeah, I can shout out. I've been getting streamer bot set up. I don't have a bot account, so the commands just show up under my name, which is okay. Okay. With Blight, hit 6 survivors. Well, okay, that's a master challenge, I guess. Okay. What are you? Earn a total of 3 of the following of bronze quality or better as survivor or killer. Evader emblems or chaser emblems. Ooh. Okay. I will permit discussion of alpaca coin. If I can get snacks out of it. Oh, okay. So this isn't a single lethal rush, right? This is just like 6 total survivors hitting people. It's probably not going to happen anyway. So I'm going to go with the 500 blood points one until I get more familiar with Blight. Okay. I want to at least grab... that. I'm doing all right. I still have a bit of mono fatigue, unfortunately. Okay, I will let you know. I've been reading through documentation, so I think I've mostly got the basics figured out, but if I run into anything, I will, yeah, definitely know where to turn to. And thank you, Alpaca. Let's see. Okay, so this is... I don't like that one. Uncloaking speed's nice. All survivors start the trial separated. Ooh. Moderately thickens. I don't really care about that. Increases movement speed while cloaked by 9%. Nice. And then cloaking speed by 60. Ooh. Then you are basement aura. Okay. Let's grab this and hope that it doesn't steal this one. Okay, hallelujah. Fourth perk slot for Wraith. Okay, now we're gonna swap killers. We're gonna go with the Huntress, and we're gonna do some Blood Web for her. I was aiming for the No One Escapes Death perk because I need to collect perks for everyone. Chance of spawning the hatch in the main building, if it has. Okay, and this is the one that okay, increases their sound by 50%, which is wonderful. Time required to wind up a hatchet. Beautiful. Okay, so the perk is here. You recuperate faster from missed attacks made with your main weapon. The cooldown after missed basic attacks is reduced by 20%. Nice. This is 3 yellowed cloths in a row. Putting 100% bonus blood points in all categories. Ow. Good to see you, Rain. Thank you for stopping by. You hanging in there all right? Undetectable for 30 seconds after reloading. Oh yeah, throwing things at me and petting me are only 1 point each, so feel free to go hog wild if you want. Just, ow. Know that it might kill me. Thank you for the pet sanity. And thank you for the hydrate, Rain. That was a good reminder. I haven't been on top of that today. 30, 40. Okay, so I can't. Thank you for the pets, Alpaca. I can't go fully down any of these chains, but I'm gonna start heading for the perk. Oh yeah, thrown hatchet speed, 20%. Okay, awesome. Oh yeah, okay, can't grab that yet. Okay, let's... Ow. Loadout, Sloppy Butcher, and the Huntress Lullaby. Let me remind myself what these ones are. Wait, what were you? Dying state with a basic attack causes all generators within a 32-meter radius to explode instantly and begin regressing. Generators affected by jolt immediately lose 6% of their progress. I got this one, which was the... Okay, that's the Escape Gates one. I get undetectable after gaining Bloodlust Tier 1. Oh my god! Thank you for subscribing, Rain! That's awesome! That means a lot. Also, you got to hear my new subscriber alert tone. I've actually made a bunch of alert tones. The follower one's the same. It's the chirping bats. There's one for subs and resubs. There's one for gifted subs, a different one for anonymous subs, one for raids, which is like a PlayStation or Windows XP like sort of swell sound, or like more like Windows 98, I guess. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's a one for bits and donations as well, even though I don't have donations set up quite yet, which is why it doesn't have its own alert noise. Okay, that's the terror radius one. Okay. I like these more. Okay. I might add this one after I unlock a slot. Or yeah. Okay, let's figure out add-ons. Hatchets inflict incapacitated for 10 seconds sounds pretty nice. I'm gonna run with that and a course stone without really looking at the rest of them. Just if I land a hatchet, hell yeah. Any offerings? Okay, I think I want the okay, someone who actually knows this game, what is the difference between, or like, what are brutality and deviousness? I am unsure. Oh, here's hunting. I'm gonna bring this one. I also have like 3 of it, so that's wonderful. I think that's everything. Right, I'm working on this. Let's go. It isn't quite my first time. It is pretty close to. I've played 2 days prior to this, just thanks for the milk. Just a couple matches each day. I just today bought the Hunters expansion pack for all of the non-licensed killers. Or I keep saying hunters. I've been playing hunt for a long time. I mean killers if I say that. Okay, will do. Yeah. Nice. I am excited to play as well. Bramble shot. Do you want me calling you that, or Bramble, or do you want me calling you something else on stream? Just let me know whatever you want me to refer to you as. Yeah, funnily enough, the milk command actually heals me. A certain amount of... Oh, there's Jill Valentine. No, Leon, though. Okay, cool. Yeah, Angel. My loadout is I've got weighted head and course stone because I'm afraid of using anything above uncommon right now, and I have a bunch of course stones and I think they're good from what I've read. Devout Spotted Owl Wreath, which I had 3 of to get some more blood points from hunting, and then the lullaby. You know, I'm not actually sure. I might not have read it fully. I used it yesterday, and I did all right. Or was it? Yeah, yesterday I guess is the first time I played. Okay, that's good to know. So that would only apply to her hatchet, or like her basic attacks, but I guess that's still something. Probably worth swapping out after this match, though. Thank you for bringing that up. I feel like I should have what I should have is a better control setup for switching between scenes and triggering like audio cues and stuff. Right now I have 16 key MIDI pad that I'm using for it. 5 of the buttons are for expressions. Ow. 2 are for zooming in and out, which doesn't actually work right now because I changed like rendering programs. And the rest are for OBS scenes. Oh, right, it's time to go. Ah, yes. Oh, dang it. I'm gonna destroy this really quick. Oh yeah, this is the Oni map. I forgot to look at where I was playing. Did I just hear what I thought I heard? Was that over here? Wrong one. Oh well, I get some hatchets. No, okay. Someone definitely went into a locker, but I think it was the one over here. Yep, okay. Those spooky black eyes, jeez. All right. Let's head over to this one. Oh. Dang it, I should have just helped that one. Let's damage this. Oh, really? These people are better than I'm used to playing with, it turns out. Oh, you're already... Okay. What was I chasing over there? Ooh, there's my totem. Dang it! Yep. They just got my totem, didn't they? Come on. No. This is the one they already got. Nice try. This guy is learning a valuable lesson about lockers. I'm suddenly very bad at throwing these. I say suddenly. I don't know that I ever was good at them. Okay. Oh, here was this door. Let's break that down. You already degrading? No. Maybe I just missed this one. Dang it. Oh well. I'll take the melee hit. I wish I were better at hitting these axes though, Jesus. Oh no, another gen's up. Kill them. Oh wait, there was someone who was just here. That who you are. Hell yeah, that one worked. Oh, damn, I didn't realize I killed her. Okay, that's good to know. They're just left of center. Got it. I believe my shots have been far enough off that that info isn't the most helpful for them, but that is very good to know for going forward. Let's restock. Also, do you want any backseat like this? I can just... stuff like that is fine. Yeah. It might vary as, like, my experience changes. Oh, you have been working on this. But tips like that in particular, I think are really helpful. So, yeah, if you feel like you want to send them my way, send them my way. You're already running. Okay. I have to check on those, even if they are, just so I can cement that that's how they work into my brain. Wait, are you... No, okay. I've only killed one person. Where are they? Oh, there's one. Oh, you almost walked right into it, bro. Haha. Dang it. There we go. I can talk about some perks that survivors throw at you if they come up as well. Sure, yeah, that works. Ooh, one more. So I'm currently familiar with a couple. I'm gonna mix up the names. There's Dead Hard is the one where they just get an extra little burst of speed. Oh, dang it. Gates are open. And then there's the other, the one that is like, I don't remember. Yeah. I just saw you. Oh, hello there. Come on. You're trying to distract me. And it's working. Oh, you already got the gate open. Duh. Dang it. Come on. Did you just make it out the other one? Yeah, okay, yep. Made it out the other one. Rip. That's my first official loss. Say it's official, it's unofficial. But from at least what I've seen with Wayne Radio TV's streams, and he's cited it before, a technical win as far as predictions go for like stream betting is if you get 3 kills and a hatch escape, or 3 kills and you break the hatch, or 4 kills, is the way that it works as a win there. The points sort of say otherwise here. I'm cool with that. And I'm, yeah, definitely happy getting 2 kills. Not gonna complain. Oh, I guess before I do the blood web, I should get my, like, reward points. Ooh. I got a covert, a charm. Okay. Bad, I guess. I need to do anything to unlock it like the, okay, no. Oh, crap. I was supposed to go... Oh, wait, no, I already have the challenge selected. I'm smart. This UI is a tiny bit confusing. What's the new blinking setting? Oh, the new wiggle interaction. Sure. Yeah, I'll try it. I've been debating whether to do that or not. Okay. Yeah. Let's grab this perk. Yeah. Yeah, it is, isn't it? That makes that easy. There we go. Oh, I can grab one more. Dark hasn't settled in yet. Cool. We're gonna try a new killer. One that I have not played before. Not quite sure which one. Not playing Trickster. I guess... I could go Hillbilly. Oh, so the... I will answer Sam first. There is a DLC where you can unlock all the non-licensed killers for like $30 or something. And I figured I'd grab that and just not worry about grabbing DLCs and stuff. Back to your point, Angel. I'm white. If I were to be like, oh yeah, I want to play Trickster, I'd be one of those Koreaboos in your Korean class. No. Do the twins. Very hard, it says. I might try them out later. I think I should get better at the game. The artist is a bit gender. I might have to grab her at some point. I don't know how she works. Like I have... Ooh, crows. Charged Words of Torment once fully directed. Tap the attack button to summon a dire crow. You can repeat the action repeatedly Well, at least one dire crow is summoned. It stays idle for a limited time. Spawning a new dire crow will extend the time. Yeah, that is pretty long. If you want to explain it, I would appreciate that. The first syllable was not coming through. Oh. Why does that take me back to the shop instead of Killer's selection? I want to play Oni someday. I think it's gonna take me a while to, like, reach that gameplay level. I'm gonna... could go Clown. I could go Trickster for medium. I might actually go Legion. Just to try him out, even though he is a dude with a knife. Like, that's it. Okay, so I start with... Your ability puts a bird in front of you. Your alt ability launches the bird forward. You can place up to 3 birds to launch, but each bird increases the cooldown. Okay. Any generator within a range of 64 meters that is being repaired by 2 or more survivors is highlighted by a yellow aura. Generator's first highlighted discordance triggers a loud noise notification on the generator. After the generator is no longer within range or is no longer being repaired by 2 or more survivors, the aura remains for another 4 seconds. Oh, okay. That sounds pretty good. If a bird hits a swarms the survivor, revealing their location. If a swarm survivor gets hit by another bird, they take damage. Okay, so you just have to, like, aim these birds that you've just summoned. Do they follow you around, or are they just at a set point on the map? These are interesting. I'm liking these perks. I don't have anything like this. Okay. Oh, they travel all the way across the map. Okay. That's interesting. I'm gonna run Discordance. Yeah, this music is pretty good. I might have to just try them all out as I go. See what feels right. It's good to just aim 3 birds at 3 different gens and launch them to see if they... Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Having, like, specific points on the map to be able to target. Yeah, that's sort of rad. I like that. I should probably read his power when I get a sec. I'm pretty sure it's just he can run, and then... Oh, okay. You can chain attacks between multiple survivors. The Legion moves faster and gains access to additional abilities. Okay. You can perform a pallet vault at a dropped pallet. Okay. So you become a survivor in that regard. And then Feral Slash puts the survivor into the injured state, inflicts a deep wound status effect, refills the power gauge. Oh, right. Once the power gauge like empties. He goes, ah! And like almost passes out. Yeah, he is just some dude. Some dude who also barely murdery just people friends. Yeah. Barry's Memorial Institute? Are we headed there? Oh. Dang it, I should have looked. I want to play the girl. Let's see if I can do a decent pitch shift. Okay. Good luck, Angel. That's how I'm imagining the difference to male and female Legion. That's like my one takeaway from watching Wayne Radio TV play him is the sound he makes when he's done. Oh, we didn't end up at the place that the offering is supposed to be for. Ah! Did he not? Does 2 stabs not kill him? There we go. Okay. You can't fully down a survivor with your feral frenzy attacks, only injure. Okay, that's good to know. Maybe not the optimal hook, but I should get him there. There we go. Let's see if I can catch anyone off of it. Dang it. That's already done. Where are you all? There you are. Dang it. Can I not jump out of that? There you are. Okay, she just ran past here then. Dang it. Got her. Heck yeah. Bumped into my mic there. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, don't need to damage you. Ooh, Mark's over here. You haven't been worked on. You're dead. It's... There we go. You can go over here. Where were you, Steve? I guess maybe I shouldn't worry about Steve much. There's fresh meat over here. Almost. There we go. Ooh, you've been worked on. Good to know. See. Oh, I thought I was gonna bait the pallet out of him. He is successfully wasting. Nope, I got him. Okay. Still wasted my time. I shouldn't have fallen for that. One more gem. Oh, dang it. There we go. Steve number 2 down. Come on, let me pick you up. We'll go to this hook over here. Dang it. Gotta try to make up for it here at the end. Someone made it through. Don't teabag me, you motherfucker! Fuck you! This guy really said I'm not gonna win. Ah, that made it 2 kills. Hell yeah. That calls for a GG. Hey, yeah, looks like you did pretty good. Yeah, let's head over and upgrade. I know my mind is opened up to the blood web. Blood points in all categories. Dang. You spoil me. Oh, dang. That's just a straight buff. I feel like these usually come with trade-offs, so that's really cool. Okay. Oh, yeah, I guess we're not going to the store. We're going here. No, just back. The killers. Then I select customize. There we go. Julie. The couple that shoplifts together stays together. Yeah, let's play as Julie. I do have a charm. Let's throw on the Christmas tree. Okay, this is the lockers one. This is improved basic attacks. Proving care of the hooks found in the basement of arouse the entity's interest. 4 random hooks are changed into scourge hooks. You see their auras in white. They grant 10% faster entity progression if the killer is not within 24 meters. Basement hooks also count as scorch hooks. Okay, that's interesting. Like, if you hook someone, you gotta get away from them in order for it to activate, but that's interesting. You recuperate faster from missed attacks made with your main weapon. The cooldown after missed basic attacks is reduced by 20%. Doesn't sound strong enough. Ammo. I'm gonna try out Mad Grit, mostly out of curiosity. We're gonna try a smiley face pin. And I'll save this for now. Let's go. Let's try her now. Don't remind myself, this is self-mending. Okay, and this one is proves your basic attacks, right? No cooldown for missed basic attacks if you're carrying someone. If you hit someone with Frenzy, you want to hit a different person with it. If you hit 4 people with Frenzy, then your 5th hit can actually down someone. Oh, okay. And they have to be 4 different people, I assume, from what you just said. Okay. If they have the yellow health bar below their HP, then they're not a valid target. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you. Some really good advice. Lessens the dark mist. That was something. Didn't quite catch it. Those go by a little fast if you don't know what they are. Okay. You try to hit everyone, and since they're all injured, you can pick them off easier because they're slow and bleeding. And only need 1 hit to kill. That makes sense. Okay. And let's head... Yep, there's someone. 2 people. Oh, dang it. All right. Have a good night, Rai. Thank you for stopping in. I damage this real quick so they're not making progress on it. You didn't go for the pallet, huh? Okay, rip. Where's your buddy? Why did you run back at me, bro? Where are you? just missing. You been working on this, Jen? No. Okay. Oh, dang it. This is my first time getting flashlit. That was rude. All right, have a good night, Rain. Thank you for stopping in. Let's see. You led me to your dead friend. That was really rude. I'm not gonna let you flashlight me, though. Oh, come on! Rude! Oh wait, I have the thing for attacking people while I'm carrying someone. That was smart. You're all together. Dang it. Shouldn't have gone after that. Got him. Dang it. Missed. That was quite a bunch of stabbing. Dang it. Big block. That was a mistake. Oh well. Someone's trying to flashlight me? Dang it. Oh, okay. I thought they're... Oh, that's where that sound is coming from. I'm picking on this guy, but I don't feel very bad about it. These two are here to distract me, but... I mean, if I can kill them both, then I can get over to the other side of the map pretty quick with Frenzy. Thought I just heard someone. Oh, damn, it's so close. Let's get that out of the way. Dang it, he got in right in time. That was still pretty swagged, though. Dang it, I thought he was running away from it. Oh, that was the same person twice, dang it. Oh well, I can get her, because she's not aiming the flashlight. Oh, rude! Fuck you. Humming sound coming from the stack of tires. It's a blue totem. You want to snuff them out. They're survivor totems. Oh, I didn't realize survivors got totems. Oh, almost got you. Dang it. Not working on the gen, are ya? Oh, okay, I hear that. Nice. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. Come on. Okay. Time to start hooking people again instead of frenzying them over and over. You're dying next, guy. Right now. Come here. Damn it. I hate you all, you motherfuckers. There we go. Jeez. Okay, we're hanging you. Oh, is this? There we go. I think they think I'm malding. They might be right. Oh, you motherfucker. It didn't know how to rank somebody who's watched a lot of Wayne Radio TV and barely ever played the game. You're not down, right? No. I'm just gonna come out, bro. Hate you. They just disappeared. Guess they decided they'd had their fun over here. That's not making any noise. Let's destroy that. That's already up. They are so consistent and I can't fucking turn. No! I didn't... No! god, I want to teabag him so fucking bad! What the fuck was that?
Oh!
There we go, I got someone up. Oh my god, that is the saltiest I've gotten at a game in a long time. I now fully agree when someone says that the survivors are the scariest people in the game. Yeah, that was a little bit ridiculous. See, is there a way to view previous matches in this game? I assume not. Okay. Yeah, that was all of a sudden insane and extremely coordinated, and they landed like every flashlight. Oh well. I'm gonna head to the cave for just a second. I want to hang out here for a sec. Thank you all for still being here after that shit show of a game. I am sorry for getting salty like I did. Oh, thank you for the head pats, Angel. That was my first experience with anything vaguely similar. Oh, thank you, Sam. Unfortunately, if you do a head pat while another head pat is going, it like they both end at the same time that the first one would, but it doesn't. Yeah, I saw it. You did it. I felt it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not playing Legion anymore tonight. But I'm gonna do okay. I think I might actually keep playing a little more. But I'm gonna take a break really quick. So I can use the restroom, refill my water, do some stretching, that sort of thing. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you for the posture check. Yeah. I really got to get an inversion table for when I'm streaming, so I can just play all my games upside down and have my back stretched out. That I could really use it. I will see you all in just a couple minutes. I'll be right back. in. I'm back. Doing better. If I have my Joker arc, at least I'm not crying right now. No. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm playing more Legion is gonna tilt me a little bit, more than I already am, but I can play someone else. Might do another Huntress match. Get used to her axes and stuff. A little bit more chill music and some humming. Yeah. Let's do some Blood Web. Yay! Perk slot 3! Okay, so the perk is up here, Spies from the Shadows. There's also, ooh, Rare Huntress's Lullaby. I'm grabbing that. Okay, so it took that one already. Let's see. Decreased time required to reload hatchets at a locker. Brutality points. Oh, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get that one. So let's grab... this one. That's an offering. This is an offering. This is an add-on. I'll grab the add-on. That. Okay. It's a fun little game of its own. Thank you, Knives. Unrelenting. Hatchets inflict mangled. Okay. And then this is slightly decrease the distance between hooks. I'm gonna grab this one first. Okay, rad, I could get them all. Movement speed by 5% while aiming or throwing. Nice. I should maybe try to grab the perk real quick though. Okay, these are both nice. We'll see what happens. Heck yeah, I got them all. Let's see. Okay, so I have the black hair mask. I don't have any outfits or axes. Okay. Professor Wolfie. Oh, no, I get the pets. And I need him after that last match. Boy, howdy. No, thank you for stopping by, Professor. Do you want me to call you Wolfie or Poro or... I assume that's a League of Legends name, by the way. I did my time. And I got out. But yeah, I used to play a fair bit of League. Thanks, Angel. Maybe it's better for you to play default outfits, otherwise people will assume, oh, you're an experienced player and give you a hard time, probably. Maybe. How dare you, Angel. Wait, did that? I didn't set my other charms. You know what? Yeah, I am gonna drop the charms. I like the black hair mask, but yeah, outside of that, I'll leave it. I do not really have any outfits, so. Okay, so this was the hunting, deviousness. Hatch in the main building. Ooh, survivor pudding. I am going to do that. Check these. Hatchet speed by 10%. Cooldown by 10%. I think I'm gonna run a yellowed cloth. Wolfie. Yeah, I play Lost in Season 5, though not really anymore. DBD Killer is more fun with not being reliant on 4 other people spamming jungle diff and other things while I'm carrying them. Yeah! I sort of had the opposite problem. I felt like I had a really hard time improving, and so anytime my team did bad, I blamed myself for it all. And then so did my team, which didn't help. So yeah, I got out of that luckily, and I'm, yeah, enjoying being like, how long has it been now? Like, I just realized I can name this, do some more blood web. Commune with 2 blue glyphs. I don't know what you are. I honestly don't know what the bronze quality, what any of this means, but we'll see if it happens. I'm not gonna play Blight right now. And this is Survivor. Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's head back. Oh, well, thank you for stopping by, Wolfie. Oh, my phone just said it's dying. I didn't turn the charger on. There we go. I'm gonna focus on these really quick to see. I'm required to wind up a hatchet throw. Hatchet speed. I already have 1 for hatchet speed. That's the mangled, blindness, cooldown. I'm nurse main. Don't want to play her, but my former mains weren't strong killers to begin with and got nerfed. Since I don't want to get teabagged constantly, I had to switch to the easy mode. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I haven't tried nurse yet. The idea sort of scares me, not gonna lie. Let's spend the rest of these points real quick. Oh, the leather loop gives you increased. Okay. Good to know. I'm gonna go for the perk. Just to have it. Oh, I can't grab it yet. Already out of points again. Yeah, I haven't played nurse yet. My girlfriend Knives, who's Knife Mutt in the chat, I watched her play a game yesterday? No, a couple days ago, maybe 2 days ago. A couple games of nurse, and she was starting to get the hang of it. Yeah, very hard killer. It changes the complete game since she is the only killer slower than survivors and being able to completely ignore most parts of the game. Yeah, that's what I've heard, is once you learn nurse and her mechanics, there's really not a whole lot of counterplay to it because you have the yeah, I'll run one of those. Because you have to teleport. Like, all of a sudden, you're not running into pallets, and you're... Like, if you're aiming right, they don't have time to use flashlights unless they're ganged up, and I can see how it would change, like, a lot of aspects of the game. If you're bored and can play multiple hundreds of hours on her, then you'll have fun getting constant 4Ks, but it needs a lot of muscle memory. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would expect. Let's see, what do I want to run third perk? see. No one escapes death. Once the exit gates are powered, if there's a dull totem remaining on the map, this hex is applied to it. While this hex is active, survivors suffer from the exposed status effect. Your movement speed is increased by 2%. Once it's revealed survivors, its hex totem's aura is shown to the survivors at a range of 4 meters. This range increases steadily over the next 30 seconds to 24 meters. As long as it's standing, it lasts. Exposed survivors will be downed by basic attacks even if uninjured. Oh. Okay. I might play around with that then. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try that out. I probably won't be able to get the best read on how good it is at my level of play, but if I notice it, then that probably means it's pretty good. Getting rid of Sloppy Butcher for something else. Oh yeah, that's right, this is the basic attack specifically. That's what you were talking about. Yeah. For some reason, my brain, when you said Sloppy Butcher, it thought of Course Stone, which I'm not going to run now. But yeah, Sloppy Butcher. Let's try... Unrelenting could work. There's... Oh, this one, just more blood points. Spies might help you spot survivors. And Bats and Raven are not the same, but yeah, Bird RP or something. Let's see, so the, yeah, Spies. 100% of the time, Cawing Crows give you a visual cue when you're within a 20-meter range. Oh, okay. Spies from the Shadows has a cooldown of 5 seconds. Okay. So it points out crow sounds if you're within the range. I think I like that. The other one recommended was Jolt. Which is putting a survivor into the dying state with a basic attack causes all generators within a 32-meter radius to explode instantly and begin regressing. Generators affected by Jolt immediately lose 6% of their progress. I do like the sound of that. Oh, okay. Yep, basic attack. Okay. Yeah, let's try Spies. That sounds interesting. Some might say. Yeah. Oh, let's go. Thank y'all for teaching me about this. This is the like loadouts and stuff in particular. I feel like are, I don't know, it's the same thing I run into with any sort of theory crafting game. I used to play a lot of Hearthstone, and then I tried doing Magic, and it's like, until you're really familiar, it's hard to like even get a gauge of what is good and like what stats you should value. Yeah. And so, yeah. Basic attack. Like, Nia Carlson has a bit of gender going on. Oh. Oh no, I'm playing against Jesse's mom. Another Nia. Okay. They both have different genders going. Oh, I should ready. I forget that's something I have to do. I used to hunt where, say, ready as you choose your loadout. And then you just hang out until the game loads. Missed, luck. That's my blood points. Okay. So we might go to the map they wanted, and we might dismiss missed, or we will dismiss missed a little bit. I'm not really familiar with what the luck is. It's a little worrying to hear that the survivors are going to get lucky this round. Survivors throwing a map, time to slug them all and let them bleed out. Ooh, violence. This is supported. Oh, we play Huntress. And pretty much any killer, I guess. Or honestly, any survivor would probably also justify violence, but I'm feeling the vibe right now. Luck is kind of irrelevant. They have better odds of freeing themselves from hooks. Most of the time you want to get unhooked by your teammates anyway, so yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Like, yeah, I've definitely heard that you don't want to try to free yourself. Unless it's like absolutely necessary. I guess the idea of getting lucky on that. Okay, that's my totem, I think. Setting off lots of birds. Let's try. All right, where are y'all? Since I already did some damage, I'm gonna break down. Oh, you went over here and goofed it up. I see. Oh. There we go. Do you have crosshair on your monitor? No, I do not. That is not something I've ever really considered adding. Might not be for good reasons, I just hadn't thought about it. Alright, what hook are we taking you to? Can I get you over here? Oh, dang it, almost. Little too close together. Oh. Who flashlit me? Oh, was that... That sounded like firecrackers. I assumed that was some sort of... Assumed that was a nefarious thing. Let's get that damaged real quick. Let's get myself some hatchets. Let's go check on... You're not making noise. Other one... Did I not damage it? Or were they working on it? Oh, you sneaky buggers. Dang it. The idea that bamboo would stop that hatchet is goofy. Oh, come on. Oh, someone else is hurt over here. I should have looked first. Ooh, sort of close. Dang it. There you are. Oh, you're gonna pay attention. Ooh la la. That wasn't sarcastic. That's awesome. I should probably be stopping some other jets. I should probably also get some hatchets. Oh, they finished it. Dang it. I got rabies! Now's not the time! Where am I even chasing? Oh, okay, here. Nice. There we go. Okay, where to hook? Here we go. Nice and easy. Is that a finished gen? Come on. Okay, where are y'all going for the final gen? Oh, you're all together. Lucy, I'm home! Are you over here? That gen's done. Oh, you're just healing. Duh. That's a thing you mortals need to worry about. No! Let me hang you! There we go. Not that one. I don't hear that one. Yep, there they are. Oh, almost. Let's stock up on hatchets. Oh, yeah, I haven't damaged you in a hot sec. I should do that. I hear someone crying. Who led me all the way over here to an already finished gen. At least I get a hook. Oh yeah, you're finished. Yay, I got 2 kills! Yeah, it's probably this back gen. On it, but I can damage it. There you are, Sneaky. You're not gonna finish that gen soon. Heck yeah. Let's damage that. Yeah. Let's stock up while I'm at it. I'm sorry you missed the rabies. It makes me shake. For like 15 seconds, maybe? I assume this person is just on a quest to find the hatch. Those were the furthest apart throws I've ever experienced. Oh, okay. Made it out the hatch. Oh well. I will take it. I thought that was fun. Okay, I did get a chaser emblem, I guess. Whatever that means. Oh, at the end of the game. Okay. Ow. Oh. Oh no, maybe I do remember the flashlight at the start. Yeah. Quick GG if they're still here. Yeah, they're pretty aggressive. You're fucking beaning me. Alright, more blood web. We're gonna grab the leather loop. Reject all offerings that alter the chances of being sent to a specific realm. This can only be canceled before identical realm offerings are played. Do I want hatchet speed or... Cool, I want speed. I think. Beast of Prey in green. Let's see, yeah, I have enough to get that. Do I want the survivor pudding though? Hemorrhage regresses healing progress when not healing, and increases blood trails left by injured survivors. Okay, and mangled increases the time to heal. Okay, I think I like this one. I might have to pass on the pudding. Yep, it's gonna eat the pudding, I think. Yep, okay. Let's still grab that, and then we get a course stone. Berg slot 4! Right. 40% more blood points for actions in the hunter category and undetectable after gaining bloodlust tier 1. Alright, Sam, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciated your insight and tips and trying to think of other creative words for that stuff, and I'm failing. It was really nice to see you. It's always a pleasure to see you. And I hope you have a wonderful night. And hope you sleep well. Aw, I did. I've been enjoying it, even if I almost went crazy. It was worth it. Bitter Murmur, how it's called, might be good. What was Bitter Murmur? Oh yeah. Each time a generator is fully repaired, survivors within 16 meters of the generator will be revealed for 5 seconds. When the last generator is fully repaired, all the survivors' auras. I almost had a syllabus packet on fire with a candle. I'm so smart and safe. Well, if it had been the packet for that creative writing course, I would have condoned that as an act of heroism. Yeah, Bitter Murmur could be interesting. I might give it a shot. No, I didn't want to swap that one out. And we're putting Bitter Murmur there. Yeah. I think I'm actually going to change this one out for, what was it? The Beast of Prey. I'm going to try it out. All aura reading perks are good in a sense you want to know where to throw your hatchets. That makes sense. All right. Oh, crap. I forgot to set up alert command, but thank you for lurking. I hope you have a nice time chilling. Angel, your message said, OMG, that prof was so pretentious. For a split second, I was really worried you were talking about Professor Wolfie, but no, your creative writing professor. He's kinda hot, huh? Well, you shouldn't make your decisions based off that, but it's a factor. Also, you mentioned that, like, you were pretty, like, active during the class, right? You were talking and stuff? Or am I misremembering something you said? Try out some Death Slinger. Yeah, I was. It was pretty cool analyzing the story we read. That's awesome. It sounds like when it comes to like the class like participation stuff, that's probably not something you need to worry about. It does sound like the lack of grading and the assignment schedule and all of that was a bit worrying. Oh yeah, I don't want to pour all my creative writing into the class and I have a bunch of fics to write. Fair. Okay, yeah. Let's go Death Slinger. We start with Gearhead. After a survivor loses a health state, Gearhead activates. While Gearhead is active, each time a survivor completes a great skill check while repairing, their aura is revealed to you for 6 seconds. I like that. Dead Man Switch. When you hook a survivor, Dead Man Switch activates for the next 20 seconds. While activated, any survivor that stops repairing a generator before it is fully repaired causes the entity to block the generator until the effect ends. Affected generators are highlighted by a white aura. Sounds sort of situational, but maybe nice. Or no, it just says, like, for 20 seconds after I hang someone, nobody can touch gens. Oh, no, but it's only if they stop repairing. Okay. Oh, so that would be like... if I... Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Hex Retribution. Any survivor interacting with the Dull Totem will suffer from the Oblivious status effect for 35 seconds. Oblivious prevents survivors from hearing or being affected by the terror radius. If any Hex Totem is removed, including this one, the auras of all survivors are revealed for 15 seconds. Okay. The prof is asking if anyone feels brave enough to finish a short story in a week to workshop and about to call on people because not enough people are raising their hands. Me, who hasn't updated a fic, people have been waiting on for a year. Sweating. Well, if they've been waiting for a year, a semester is not gonna hurt. Okay, press and hold the power button to aim down the sights, press the attack button to shoot. Yeah, and then you can reel. While a survivor is speared, press and hold the power button to reel them toward you. They may struggle against a chain or use the environment to pressure the chain to break. Doing so will result in briefly stunning Death Slinger, as well as putting the survivor in the injured state. And applying the Deep Wound status effect, using a basic attack while a survivor is speared will break the chain without applying a penalty to either the Death Slinger or the survivor. Successfully hitting a survivor with the basic attack while they are speared and healthy will also apply Deep Wounds. The Redeemer must be reloaded after every shot before it may be fired again. Okay, yep. You just shoot, and then... I've only ever played against the most toxic gunslingers. I've never played against I assume that's cool gunslinger. Maybe it'll be me. Buy any of this? Is there any customization available? Nope. I'm fine with that. Yeah. God, I keep feeling tempted to check my phone, but my phone is what is animating me. Also, that's not very good streaming practice, but oh well. My ADHD will tell me what my ADHD tells me to do. Bill Overbeck, Jake Park, Meg Thomas, Dwight. I don't know anything about it. Oh, no, Bill is he from Left 4 Dead? I don't really know the others. If you really want to go full gunslinger, slug and camp everyone, because that's what gunslinger does apparently. Okay, yeah, that I thought I recognized him. I have definitely swapped out his model. I've only played Left 4 Dead 2. I don't remember if we played a 1 or 2 like map or mission or whatever. I've only played it like once. It was fun, but I still don't like entirely understand the, I don't know. It's sort of a weird game to me, I guess. The mechanics I understand. It's just sort of everything else around it. They should make Coach a survivor. I would play Survivor if they put Coach in. Only because of YouTube poops. Setting off so many crows. That one wasn't me, was it? There's someone. Oh, control to reload. Okay. Oh yeah. Landing my first shot. I think that's a good sign. You're hooked. Ah, come on. Aw, thank you for the pets. I missed them for a sec because I was focused on shooting. Ooh, yeah, I should damage this gen. Jeez. That's geared up pretty good. Oh, that's a fire. Where's the next gen? You. Okay, that's unhooking him. Oh, they finished it? Oh, I guess that makes sense. I'll have to remember, I think there's a totem over there. I was hearing it call to me. You're not going, you're not going. Are they all just on that one side of the map? I guess that'd make sense. Nope, there's some progress being made over here. And some fresh marks. I don't, well, not super fresh, but you know. Couldn't happen to be in here, no. Wild shot. You go inside of this. I guess not. Maybe that's just the sound this area makes. I don't know. That's a second gen. Rip. Well, I was wasting time. I was learning the map. Okay. Third gen? Come on. Someone working on this right now. Yeah. Where in the world did she go? I've been duped. Let's make sure you're regressing at least. That was a sound. Hello, Dwight. Yeah. Goodbye, Dwight. Ah. One more gen. I'm a little behind. Oh ho ho. Hey, bro. Oh, look, yep. Thought so. Are you still circling? No. Over here. Dang it. That was definitely a miss. Dang. Oh, I'll just walk at him. No, I should reload. Bro, you're too distracting. Stop it. I won't put up with this nonsense. Yep, it's definitely this gen. Nice try. Almost got me. I should have tried shooting through the hole. That would have worked. I feel like I have a lot harder time seeing blood trails with this guy. Okay, you are damaged. Good. Oh, I hear you up here. What if I peeked in here? No. Oh, hi there. Dang it. Okay, you're fully regressed. That's good. No. They've got me really paranoid about the blockers now. You're not even going? Okay, they just decided to move away from this whole area. There you are. Oh, almost. You're already running, so you're being a distraction. But that one's not doing shit. Okay, so we have this one, that one, that one are the only three options. Right? Yeah, okay. Ah, dang it. Every time you start working on it, I get to damage it. Oh, hey, what you doing down here? Sorry, bud. Nothing personnel.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Sorry, bud.
Ah.
Gotta get my 2 kills. Them's the rules. Okay, you're not running. Check up here. You're not regressing anymore, at least. Okay, I just saw some... Tasty. Okay, then I need to go damage that gen immediately. Oh, she got it up. Are you just leaving him all on his lonesome? Wait, you're not even headed toward a gate. It's not over here, as best I can tell. Not here. There's only the 2 gates. If she's not there, then she must be over here. Yep, it's lighting up. Dang it. We got over here slightly quicker. Oh well. Unless that wasn't actually her. Oh no, she baited me. Okay, so they're definitely headed over this way. I guess definitely might not be entirely accurate. Did they open the other gate? That would make too much sense. Oh, dang it! Nope, not yet. Ah, dang it. go. Where the hook? Where the hook? Okay. I think I'm just gonna end up dropping him because I made a mistake. Oh! They didn't escape. I don't think. Based on that noise. Yeah! Hell yeah! That was long. Like, dang, that game stalled out a lot. But it got me gold in all 4 categories. Poor Dwight didn't have anything whatsoever. Oh, oh, that's what I meant this. Here, look at this real quick. Okay. 15% bonus blood points for speared, but it breaks free. Okay. I want the perk. I want all of it. What am I saying? I forget that I don't have to be choosy on the first couple blood web things. Oh, okay. Okay. I think I might do one more Wraith match before I call it a night. I think it's getting about time, but I'd enjoy taking another spin. Yeah. Is movement speed while cloaked. Yeah, I'll try this. I'm gonna try the beast. I don't think it's a wonderful choice, but I am curious. Oh, I do have the uncloaking, but maybe I'll save that for later. Yeah, I'll run Windstorm the Beast. Then Offering. That's in Sacrifice. I'll use one of these. Oh, I have my 4th perk slot. That's right. Okay, let's look for the Wraith specific ones. I'm not playing with increased FOV. Oh yeah, it's Bloodhound. That's right. Yeah, I'm not really feeling that one. see, we don't currently have a X of any sort. Oh, yeah, let me look at these ones. I'm gonna run Spies from the Shadows again. Yeah, let's go. Final match of the night, presented to you by water directly out of my fridge into my water bottle that I really need to clean. Two Claudettes and two Feng Mins. My butt hurts. Probably a good thing this is my last match of the night. So let's see, are there any fun redeems I want to do for myself really quick? I think I'm going to switch back over to Original Zoot for the last match. Yeah! I got my color sleeves. I got my other hair. I don't have a crop top anymore. I can switch between skins a lot quicker than I can make them. For only 250 stream points, or orbs. I have infinite orbs, so I can do my redeems whenever I want. Not quite true of anyone else, not even mods. Although if you're subscribed, you get channel points faster than if you were not, which is pretty neat. Okay, that plug was a little too shameless. I feel a little weird about that one. Not enough irony to it. My posture must be immaculate this game. There is a pallet right there for you. Sorry, I'm not gonna be mean. Oh, did I follow the blood the wrong way? I guess not, no. You didn't go in here, did you? No. But yeah, this is the gen she was working on. Oh, I'm not cloaked. It's the one I just damaged. Okay. Okay, I figured they were all on the same gen. Couldn't figure out which one. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you AFK? If you are, I profusely apologize. Dang it. Nice try. Sorry, though. Ah, thank you for the pet's knives. Scratch marks. Running. Where did you go? Oh, I didn't uncloak all the way. God damn it. I didn't even see where they were. Oh, I didn't. God damn it. Was I uncloaked that whole time? Yeah, I really do. I gotta keep track of whether I'm cloaked or not. Yeah. I wish y'all could see just how much I lean into the screen as I'm going for these kills. It's intense. Oh, dang it. This is too much of a goose chase. I'm not. Oh, no, you're done. Duh. Oh, no, you were on it. That's why. No, you are done. I am so confused what just happened there. Wait, what? Damage you, at least. Woke up. Damage you. Just go on a kicking spree. Oh, thank God. What hook? This hook. Okay. Okay. Then I'll go damage here. No. Yeah. Oh, I see. Oh, you are the different one. I see. Okay, nearby hook. Let's go. Now let's see if we can get you up there. Yeah. Did I pass you? Just hiding in the grass? Yep. There we go. This hook will do nicely. Oh, you're good at struggling. Oh, there's a hook. Okay. That one's not running. Okay. I could not figure out where those went for the life of me. Let's put you in the corner of the map. Okay, you aren't going at all. It's between that one and this one over here. Isn't going at all. Oh no, there are three. Oh. I think that's... Sparking, okay. Yeah, there's only 3 gens up. Oh, they're working on this one. Okay. Nice pallet attempt. Putting you in your favorite place on the corner of the map. Oh, dang. Now we're both hunting for the hatch. Unless she's desperately trying to get this up, and no. Oh. That was a clean body block. I'm not gonna even be modest about that one. Oh god, I'm not gonna get you to the hook in time. I don't even know how to get you up there. Dang it. Not like she can run super far. There we go. Right, and now I can go to this hook right here. The top of the world. Still sparking. Any more pallets to break? Oh, it was right here. Yeah. That was a good match to end on. Iridescent. Dang. Aw, thank you for the pets. Let's go redeem this. I'll do some blood web later after I've done this challenge stuff. I'll start logging off, saying bye and everything. Do chases while using the perk Overcome. All right. See you, Angel. Thank you for stopping by. It's really nice to have you. Hope you have a wonderful night. Let's claim tier 4 rewards. Ooh. Oh, whatever. Okay. All right. Let's tab out of that so the music stops and head back over to the cave. All right. That was an interesting stream there in the middle, but overall I really enjoyed it. It was, as much as I enjoy playing Hunt, and I still enjoy playing it, but it was nice to shake things up a little bit. I've been excited to try and play Dead by Daylight. And I'm having fun with it, and I'm glad I could share it on stream. And I have a bunch of people who actually have insight into it to give me pointers and hang out and talk about the game, and it was so nice seeing so many wonderful people today popping into chat saying hi. I want to thank you all for being here. We are going to raid someone. I need to quickly figure out who. Once I do, we're gonna head over. I don't have a dedicated raid message, but maybe that doesn't matter. I can figure something out on the fly. I think we are going to go ahead and raid Subspace Skater, who I follow on Tumblr, actually. They're currently playing Dark Souls 3 Cinders mod. So, let me get that raid started. Subspace Skater. Okay. Raid has been created. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Go pay subs. Rife. Give Rife some love. I'm gonna shut up now. Have a good night, everyone. I'll hopefully see y'all soon.